Good morning. This is Chris. I'm here at Artistic Artifacts for one of our Saturday morning Facebook Lives. I know Judy was supposed to join me for a conversation, but we're really busy in the store this morning. We've got, she's got a dye class that she is setting up for in the warehouse. And then we have our previously loved Bernina sale, which includes not only Bernina trade-ins that have been serviced and are ready for you to take home today, but we also have our floor models on sale. So come in, be ready to make a deal, and you can go home today with a Bernina. And they'll be new to you rather than previously owned. So we have that. Next week is the 5th Saturday of May. I don't know how it got to be the end of May, or how this weekend is Memorial Day weekend, but it is the 5th Saturday, and we will have our End of Bolt sale starting on Thursday, in store only, and 25% off our curated bundles that we put together here in the shop. Some upcoming classes that have space in them now, which you really wouldn't want to miss, is Jane Sassman will be here for 2 days in June. She will be here on a Sunday and a Monday. And this is pattern play. This is not piecing a quilt. It is playing with patterns and designs that you can then use in some of your own work. And then we're really thrilled to have our friends from Indonesia teaching a 2-day boutique workshop in July. They were here 3 years ago. They were fabulous. Their work is incredible. And they're actually bringing their son this year, so there'll be 3 of them. And in addition to their show and tell, the techniques and what they teach in the 2 days is phenomenal. And then, of course, it's July and August is Shop Hop. And we're working really hard to have some fun things for you. New kits, a whole lot of things going on. So, and Road to California actually has a new venue this year, and it's Road to Virginia. It's in Richmond. It will be the 27th through the 30th, or whatever that last weekend in June is. And we will have a booth there. Our cameraman Kyle will be manning the booth because Judy and company will be at Bernina University. But Kyle, we have a small booth. It's the first time we've done a show since right before COVID. So please stop by, see what we have, and then be inspired to actually visit the shop. We're only about 90 minutes up the road, depending on how bad 495 can be or 95 can be, but we're not that far. And so it should be a good venue. We've got some of our friends are there, French Connections, Nine Patch Fabrics, and a whole lot of other people. So come to that. So today I'm going to talk about hand stitching. And I was just telling Judy that right before I left the house, there was a discussion on one of the many slow stitching Facebook groups about what is slow stitching. And then I went to look slow stitching up. I searched it, and you could probably find as many definitions as you find artists who do some sort of handwork. To me personally, and it is the process of holding the needle and the thread in my hand with a piece of cloth. And it's that process of going in and out of the fabric, it's definitely not a fast process, and it's certainly different from when I'm sitting at the sewing machine and then I'm sewing a project with a definite end in mind. People say, oh, Chris, you create so much. Well, a lot of what you see today might not get finished for a very long time. Because what I do is I get something started, I pick my threads, and then it sits where I have my coffee in the morning or where I have my wine in the evening, and I pick it up at the beginning or the end of the day, and just do some slow stitching. I actually consider knitting a slow stitch process because I'm holding the needles and the thread in my hand. And for me, it's the joy of the colors, the texture, the process. I don't meditate while I'm doing it. There are people, our good friend Liz has a whole stitch meditation approach to her work in the groups that she leads. There's other people who say it has to be this, it has to be that. To me, it's just it's the difference between sitting at a machine and holding it in my hand. It's been around. It's nothing new. The terminology might be new, but I mean, the Canta stitch that we have, these are our new bundles of 5 and 10 inch. That's a hand stitching. They do it faster and they do a bigger needle, but it's still that in and out with the needle and thread. They're not doing this by machine. The same with the vest. There's no perfection. It's just piecing and stitching. When I was pulling stuff together, I mean, Judy made this when she was teaching a class at the Creative Minds Retreat of just using silk ribbon and stitching on it. So this to her was just playing with scraps, simple stitching with no end process in mind. And when she gets to a certain point, she says, okay, I've got enough to wrap around my spool and I'm on to the next project. And then these Judy just listed these. This is hand stitching. I don't know if you can get up there close enough. This is all hand stitched. This is not machine stitched. So it's a different process. This artisan in India, she had a pattern she was using. It wasn't printed on the fabric. She does it mindfully and stitches a pattern and fills in her hand stitching. And this is another example of a piece that Judy got. And this is actually basically a whole cloth. And again, it's hand stitched. And we've got lots of resources, lots of things you can look at and find from, I know the book, I didn't put it out today, but when I really got started on the process was Ruth Chandler's Modern Hand Stitching. I think every time I talk about stitching, I talk about that book because it gives you the basics and it gives you no boundaries. Recently, I found this one, which we just added to. It's Creative Stitching for Contemporary Embroidery. Another name, Hand Stitching Creative Embroidery. And this one from Wild Boho, it takes it to a whole different level. And she loves playing with colors and designs in her book. But lots of inspiration. Where does it go? How do you use it? I mean, she does beading. She does applique. So another absolutely beautiful book. It's called Needles Out by Nicole. The back of the book even has a texture to it. There's yarn embedded in the cover. And then we have these beautiful, beautiful books. I think they're from Batsford. Soulful Stitch is one, and Cloth Stories is another. And it's just a different approach. And this is just truly improv stitching. So each person, each stitcher, each artisan chooses their own way. And it's really finding what it is you want to do and what works for you. So we have kits to get you started. I know these have been popular, the Dropcloth Samplers. They're actually printed on a piece of fabric, but you can pick your colors, you can pick, and they're basic stitches. So there is nothing rocket science, there's nothing, it's not creative embroidery, it's basic stitches, but it gets you into that process of holding the fabric, taking the stitches, using color. To me, color is one of the most important things, color and texture. So I'm usually, as you'll see as I go along this morning, I'm usually looking for a variegated thread or what's the right thread. We carry multiple kinds of threads. We have painter's threads, which are hand painted. One of my favorites, because when you look at them, because they're hand painted, each stitch is going to come out a different color. So for somebody who loves color and texture, the painter's threads are just absolutely scrumptious. But then other times you're looking for something else. So my projects today, I'll kind of show you that I'm not a thread snob. I actually use the thread that has the color or the weight that I want. So I might include in one piece painter's thread, Sashiko thread, eleganza, and most recently I've gone to what I consider a basic thread is DMC. It's a stranded thread, which we will soon be carrying in the shop. It just requires listing. It's like 1,500 colors or something like that. So we've got a lot of colors. Look for it kind of later in June. I know they're working on how to upload it into the website and to fill the rounder that we have to display it. But lots of choices. I'm not a snob about it. I'm looking for texture and color. So kind of how this discussion even started today was a couple weeks ago, I decided to try something with Rinseaway. And Rinseaway, I couldn't get this out of the package, Kyle, so it might have some reflection on it. Rinseaway is an adhesive from Wonderfill that we've started to carry. You can use your printer, you can draw on it, you can copy a design onto it. And so what I decided I wanted to try was, could I block print directly onto the Rinseaway, peel the backing off, and do my hand stitching that way. And it worked. So I took home, not one of the easiest blocks to stitch, but I took home the Queen Anne's lace and the dandelions in the wind. And I used the small tubs of our textile paint, and this is the Queen Anne's lace block printed onto the adhesive. It's actually been peeled off, but the Rinseaway, that's the backing. You peel that off, and then this is what goes on to your fabric. I found I got a better printing on the Rinseaway than I did printing directly onto the fabric. I know Judy does a beautiful job when she prints directly onto fabric. I just got a good print that way. So I tried it on wool without the Rinseaway. So this is what I got when I printed directly onto the wool. And it's really on the fuzzy side. And if I stitched it, I would probably still see the paint.
We have a quick question.
Uh-huh.
Is there a pattern available for your vest?
No, there is no pattern available for my vest. We sell these in the shop. They're not listed online because they're one-offs and the size varies between each one. So I had to try on a couple today to find one that fit me. I've got a large at home. This is a medium. So we really can't sell them online. So no, sorry. And you could probably find a pattern, but these are just so beautiful in the colors, and each one's unique. So this is a result of using the Rinseaway on a piece of the Suspargo fabric. So it is a much cleaner print for me than on, direct printing onto the wool. And then I hand stitched it. What you do then is you take the fabric, you run it underneath the water, and I just did it in my sink with cold water. And the only thing I noticed, it wasn't a problem, it just required a little bit of cleanup afterwards, was because I had these little intricate stitches, tiny ones in there. There was a little bit of the Rinseaway with the purple paint still on it. And I just took the point of my perfect scissors and was able to pick that out. And then this one is on block printed onto a piece of hand dyed, I think it's linen. And like I said, I depict a complicated, but if anybody knows me, I love French knots, so this was a perfect one to do. But to go back to what do I do with it? So this is a work in progress. It might stay as a work in progress for a couple months. I'm doing a little bit of a collage. I had leftover of this just fabulous fabric that we have as a wide back. I've used it as a backing on a quilt. So I'm stitching, making a collage, and that's how I'm using this piece. And this one, again, if you know me, I like rice bags. So still leftover fabric, but it's going to go on there, and there will be lots of hand stitching on those little blocks of color in the background. I even use some of the selvage of the fabric on it. But again, there's no timeline. It's just something I pick up and work on. But the process for me is, I told you I use different threads. So for this one, I'm actually, let's see, I use that. I've used that. I'm using this. I've used that. I'm going to use this. I use this to stitch with. This was the stems. So you can see I've got Sashiko, I've got Eleganza, I've got painter's thread. The same with this piece. I'm actually got some DMC and just a variety of colors. So I'm looking for texture and color when I do it. And then when I was sitting there stitching yesterday, because mine are usually what ifs, I'm thinking I could lay this on the copier. It's a 6-inch stencil. I could put the Rinseaway in the feeder of the printer, and I could get some designs on the Rinseaway that I could then stitch some stencil designs. So it's just like, what if? Why don't I try this? Let's see what this goes. Any questions? So as many of you know, I do the social media, and so I'm always looking for new products that we get in. How do I promote it and whatever? So I don't usually buy a full kit, but I was really intrigued. We got 6 designs of these kits from Embroidery Sage. They're printed on a piece of fabric, and they come with everything you need to complete the project. So in the kits, you're going to get your piece of fabric. It's really a nice weight fabric to work on. I just dropped my threads, but I'll get them later. And again, I picked this color French knots. And this will be a simple back stitch to do the skyline. But in her kit, she includes the threads. These are DMC. But she also includes a hoop and a backing for the hoop. So when this is finished, it can go in the hoop. You pull your fabric around, you tack it down, you put this on the back, and you've got a nice finished project that has a really nice look instead of, well, now what do I do with this circle? I noticed on her Instagram, it was Embroidery Sage, she also now has wooden frames that you can purchase that have the circular center in it, so another option. And because we're getting some new kits for Sashiko and we got some new patterns, I took a Sashiko kit home. I was intrigued by this one. It's a dream catcher. And again, I'm not doing it as you would traditional Sashiko at all. What I've done, this one's really more of, it's in the process because I don't think this color shows up enough, so I'll have to try another green. And I almost never take stitches out once I've stitched them, but I actually cut the stitching out of this one because the first green just didn't work. I don't know that this one works. I didn't think that the color I'd chosen to do the Sashiko for the hoop, so I got some single loop painter's thread for my hoop. And I love these little sequins that we have. So I got sequins, and I'll probably put a couple charms. I was looking at some charms yesterday to get some feathers or something to put on it, because that's what dream catchers do. But we have, so this is kind of a non-traditional pattern. We have lots of more traditional ones. But what you can see is, this one is a pattern that you're actually stitching on these stitches. I found it was a very good way to get into some straight stitching because it helps you get the rhythm of the size of your stitch. For me, I love the process of trying to figure out as I'm stitching it, how do I not have to cross the thread? So that's, to me, it's like a puzzle. So it's a little bit of a mind game I'm playing with myself to see how, and some of them I can guarantee I don't have that, but this one worked really fun. It was fun to do. But again, I'm using Sashiko DMC painter's thread. And I just got to find another green. So I'll be on a hunt today to find something. I'm actually looking, and that might be just what I need. It's got a little bit more brightness to it. So that might go home with me today. And we just got this in. It's the 20th edition of this Ultimate Sashiko. So rather than doing cloths, it gives you patterns that you can stitch. I have the previous edition of this and have taken some of these designs. I took this design, I actually put it on the Rinseaway, and then I stitched it and then rinsed it off. But you could also use something like these templates circle templates to make your clam shells with a chalk to get your design. What?
We've got somebody saying hi from the parking lot.
They're watching before they come in.
Yeah.
And one of the essentials that you're going to want to need is know your needles. I would say that this kit, the only thing I did, I love everything about the kit, was I found the whole, the eye of the needle to be a little bit small for my eyes. So I went to the tulip needle that has a bigger eye. But Liz's book is great on telling you which needles are the right needles for what type of work you're doing. I have a needle minder, a needle threader, and my little needle book that I made out of some Spargo wool and just a piece of block printed fabric. But that sits with me, and it's actually nice that this magnet holds my threader in place, so I'm not losing it. All right. I think I've given you lots of inspiration. Please, if you have questions, you can also follow me on StitchesnQuilts on social media. I'm usually posting and commenting on something I'm working on, but I'm also hanging out here a lot of the time. So I hope I've inspired you to pick up the needle and thread and do some handwork. So thanks for joining us today.